Jarrett Wilbraham, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Tea Time
Thanks
Show.
for having me.
Mate, thank you. We've been talking about this
Yes.
for what, 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a little while. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And to be honest, thank you very much. You were one of the first people to actually reach out and say, hey, I like the show.
Yeah.
I'm one of the, what is it? What are we up to now? 1.5 million? No, 15 subscribers. And I was very appreciative that you actually wanted to come on the show because you're a guy, I'll be honest, when I first saw you fight, I didn't know much about. But after you fought in Eternal, I was very, very interested
Thanks.
in yourself, your journey, not just with your fighting ability, but who you are as a person. So, my man, cheers to you.
That's kind. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on. How's things?
Yeah, great. Yeah, really good. It's after the last camp, I've kind of just pulled back a little bit on the training, but it's just that like learning process now that I'm just moving through the motions and just really enjoying it.
That's good.
Yeah.
We'll get to fighting in a sec, but I am a big fan of your podcast. Speaking of podcasts, the Life's Like podcast.
Yeah, Life's Like podcast.
Yeah, blew up overnight as I saw.
Went viral for sure.
No, we're taking notes as we speak. So whatever counsel you offer. What was the motivation to start your own podcast? Because you don't just do the podcast, you do your fight analysis as well.
Yeah, I do like fight breakdowns and I don't necessarily steer in the direction of MMA on my podcast, but what I think in the world there's so many interesting people out there and they're kind of not noticed. Like if you get someone on your podcast, it'll be like someone who's an athlete or a celebrity, an influencer, that sort of thing. But like a lot of people out there that have a lot to give, they kind of don't get a voice. So I wanted to be somebody who could give those people a voice and learn from regular people. That's my motivation behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, because to be honest, I know none of the people that you're interviewing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not famous. They're not necessarily well known. They might be well known in their field.
Yeah.
But I've actually learned a lot from the few episodes I've listened to.
Cool.
What are some of the major things that you've learned over the course of doing this? Because for me personally, that's the main reason I started this one.
Yeah.
Was one, to give fighters the platform to be themselves, speak their mind, which obviously, as we found out, fighters have no problem doing so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's for my own individual learning. For you personally, is there anything that stands out to you that you've learned since starting this, 3 months ago now?
Yeah, about 3 months ago. I think the way that like people have had hardship in their life and the way that they've dealt with it may not be mainstream, but it's very like it's worthy of understanding and maybe thinking about it and saying, hey, maybe this is an alternative method of, getting to a place that you want to get to. But also, like, I have an interest in spirituality as well. So I like to cover, like, spiritual topics as well as, like, ancient texts, and philosophy is a big interest of mine. So just if I can get anyone on there can teach me something, like, I'm just learning. Like, when else can I sit down with somebody and have a conversation like that? I guess a podcast is an excuse to do that. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I remember I listened to a couple. This is completely separate from fighting, because you don't interview fighters, do you?
No, I haven't.
No interest to interview fighters?
I really haven't had the interest.
Good.
People have asked me about that, but I guess I kind of understand that world, but it would be good to get some fighters on there. I do plan on doing it. I just didn't want everyone to think that it was just going to be an MMA podcast. I wanted to like branch out, be a bit of a Joe Rogan first,
Just what the world needs, an MMA podcast, right? Well, that's good. I'm glad, because you'd probably put me out of business if you did decide to start interviewing the fighters. But no, that's good, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of the show, so look, if you're watching the Life's Like podcast, go over there and subscribe. Yeah. A lot to learn, obviously.
I do get to cover MMA topics when I go on. I got the Punch Drunk podcast.
Oh, beautiful.
With a few of the boys. So that's been good as well. So I do get my dose of MMA on the side.
Even though you're taking a break now.
Yeah.
No, good, my man. Well, awesome. That's good. I mean, I think it's good to have an interest outside of fighting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that with you personally, I think you even said you're taking a bit of a break since your last fight. Let's get into that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Obviously, the long trip across the Nullarbor plane to Perth didn't go to plan.
No.
Did you drive the van across to Perth?
Yeah. Whole way. Broke down in the... No.
It's funny because I said that in the booth and got a few messages. He didn't drive his van. I was like, relax.
That made me laugh.
It's a joke. I'm glad it made you laugh.
Rumour has it he drove across. I actually had a few people that are over there saying, "Are you driving the van across?" I'm like, it's funny. People they don't really understand like fighting, like the idea of cutting weight and the process of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably crank the heater in the van and that would probably work all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way housing's going at the moment, Roscoe, I might be living in the car myself. So, look, you're doing something right there. But going back to Perth, you fought Cody Haddon. Before that, you were scheduled to fight Colby?
Yeah, Colby Thickness.
What happened there?
Colby had a head clash.
Yeah.
Like a week out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's how soon it was. And he got a really bad concussion.
Yeah.
He went home, started like throwing up, showing all the really bad signs of concussion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that you want to play around with.
Yeah.
And like I'm mates with Colby, like we trained together. So I would have hated it if he did get in there and then I'd hit him and something like that happened. So to be honest, I was glad that the fight didn't go ahead.
So you guys are friends?
Yeah. Colby and I are good friends.
But no hesitation to fight each other?
We're both in the same boat now where it's been a long time trying to get fights and we can't get fights.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just soul crushing when you're training so hard, especially doing it full time and you just can't get the matchups. So they offered it to him and he said yes. And my manager came back to me, said that Colby said yes. And I was like, well, if he wants to do it, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Purely business though, yeah?
It's business.
Yeah.
Mates afterwards, have a beer afterwards.
Yeah.
But like we both have the same goals and the same dreams. And it's unfortunate if we had to fight.
Yeah.
But we both want to get there and we're willing to give each other the opportunity to get there, I guess.
Well, that's the business, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, in order to fulfill your dream, you've almost got to take it off someone else. Sad.
It's sad.
But it's the way it goes. So Colby obviously got injured with that fight. How long after that did they come to you to fight Cody over in Perth?
They were trying to find a replacement like that day because it was like midway through fight week when I found out about it. Like I was already cut half the weight, going through the fight week diet, had my weight right down, showing all those signs of, feeling real irritable and then I get that news and I was pretty stoic about it. Yeah. It did crush my soul, but they tried to find a replacement. They couldn't. And then they gave me Haddon's name. And as soon as I heard Haddon, I said, like, I'll take it. Yeah. It was funny, like a year previous, I remember watching Haddon's fight with Urseg. Yeah. And I talked to like Daniel Williams, Mini T, when I was over in Singapore. And I said to him, that Cody Haddon guy, he's a beast. I said, I wouldn't want to fight him. He said, don't worry, you won't fight him. He's at flyweight. And then it's funny, like a year later, how far I'd come. When they offered me Cody Haddon's name, I was like, that's the fight that I want to take. Yeah. Like, I think I have what it takes to beat him. Yeah. I didn't even hesitate to take that fight. Yeah. And I felt confident, but, I'm 5-1 fighting a guy that was like 2-1. It doesn't, none of those fights really do much for me where I want to get to. Like, I want to fight the guys that have bigger records. Yeah. But I'd take any fight. I'm not going to say no to any fight. So I'm willing to fight the guys that are trying to get up to where I am. It is what it is.
Oh, absolutely. I think, because me personally, I didn't know too much about Cody. I knew he was a good fighter, and I watched that fight with Stephen Urseg. And even though I said it in the booth, I said even though that was a loss for him, I think he would have got more out of that fight than any of his other fights as an amateur or a pro.
Yeah.
So obviously coming off a loss, fighting you who's undefeated, he would have been up for that. Going into that fight, you were fully prepared, weren't you? I mean, you were preparing for Colby. Yeah. Obviously they came to you with Cody, you were fully prepared.
Yeah, for sure. I was fully prepared. I guess I go through camp thinking it's going to be a grappling match, and then last minute it switches around. I'm fighting a 2-time Australian boxing champion.
Exactly.
So I'm like, well, but it's fine. Like, we train all round, like all styles of MMA. Yeah. But it wasn't that much of a switch up, to be honest. It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. I was ready for it. I had the best camp that I'd had. Yeah. Although, like, on paper, it was probably the worst, but mentally I feel that I was in the best place because I gradually cut weight from Christmas and I got my weight down really slowly.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the way to do it. I did it the wrong way. So I was in a deficit for such a long time. My hormones went out like towards the end of camp. So all I needed for my body was to like reload calories back in.
Yeah.
And like the fight dietitian was like, man, after this, you got to like eat, just eat. And then it got postponed another couple of weeks. I was like, oh no, like more calorie deficit. So I like did a bit of a calorie load and then I cut down again.
Yeah.
But I think they're getting my hormones to come back to normal now. Yeah. It's just a part of the game.
Do you think that weight cut had an effect on the way you fought?
No, not at
really?
all.
Not at all?
Not at all. Best weight cut I've had, to be honest.
All right then.
Like I only cut like 2.5 kilos on the day.
Yeah.
And then I walk back in like super heavy. My body seems to just load it all back on and just get rid of it.
You look pretty juicy inside the cage. Yeah. I mean, both of you did, but I mean, you in particular looked pretty good. I didn't actually know he had those boxing credentials.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you'd think I would know coming from boxing, but the information they gave us, he'd had something like, I think it was like 27 boxing fights. So from what you saw in his earlier fights till now, did that catch you off guard at all? How good he was on the feet or not really?
What caught me off guard with Cody was it was an unusual pressure. Like, I thought he was going to come at me a bit harder, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But he kind of just like kept the pressure but didn't quite come forward and didn't quite move back.
Yeah.
And what it was for me, where it all went wrong, and I'm not dwelling on the loss. Like I feel that I've taken the loss quite well, but what I'm unhappy about is how horrible I did fight and how horrible I performed. And what it was is the fight before when I fought Jamie, I got myself in this state of being really calm.
Yeah.
Like usually I'm a bit fired up when I get in there and I get a bit wild. But I calmed myself like right down for that fight and I went really well. Like I had no nerves in the shed walking out, felt nothing. And then for this fight, I thought that was the way to go. So I calmed myself down even more. Like a minute before walking out, I'm laying on the ground watching the fights on TV. My coach is like, man, you're about to get in a fight. I'm like, no, I can turn it on.
Yeah.
But when I got in there, it was just like, it just didn't feel right. It's just like I wasn't really in a fight. And then when I tried to come forward, I lunged in a range and he just started piecing me up. Yeah.
Well, I noticed there was a bit of a difference between not just in the opponents between Cody and Jamie Hunt, but I mean I was first introduced to you when you fought Jamie Hunt back at Eternal.
Yeah.
You looked unbelievable. Yeah. And for people that know that Jamie Hunt's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tough as nails, tough as they come.
Yeah.
Gave the ref no choice but to stop that fight after the second round. When you compare that to the fight against Cody, do you think you were a little bit too relaxed?
Yeah, way
going
too.
into the fight. Yeah.
I feel there's a medium point that you need to sit, and I think a lot of guys figure this out through the amateur fights. Yeah, I went straight to pro, so I didn't really get that feeling out. Section, but
so you didn't have an amateur career?
Not at all.
Really?
My first fight, I got offered a title shot, in a 4-man eliminator. So fight twice on the same night, you win and then you fight again.
Oh, where was that? Down in Canberra.
Down in Canberra, Storm Damage.
Yeah, cool.
So I was like, hell yeah! Like all I wanted to do was, for me, when it started, I walk in the gym first day, I just want to fight. I just want to be here to fight. And then my coach was like, right, if you want to fight. 10 months later of training, here I was in my first pro fight.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I managed to win both of those fights, and then I got the belt, and I beat like Luke Standing in the final, who's had 10 pro fights and a heap of boxing fights. He's a good fighter. And then I rematched him months later and then beat him again.
Yeah.
So I feel like Luke Standing's probably one of my best opponents this far. Like when I think about him fighting Cody, I think that would be a hard fight for Cody too.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, Eternal does a good job at matching the best of the best.
Yeah.
We'll see. I know that you've spoken a lot about you were 5-0 going into this fight. You made a post on your Insta how this loss would feel. How are you handling it at the moment? Because from face value, I think you're handling it quite well.
Yeah.
You're handling it like a complete professional. I couldn't even, I mean, to be honest, if I hadn't watched the fight, I wouldn't even have known you'd lost. But deep down, are you ready to get back in there? Are you hurting it all? What's the feeling like at this stage?
Not hurting. Like I took it well. I think The only way I could describe it is it's just dwelling on mistakes, just constantly dwelling on mistakes, and not so much surface level, but I think like it's a little bit like psychological in a sense, as strange as that sounds. It's like affects me in ways that I'm kind of unaware of, but I'm dealing with it well, and I'm hungrier than ever. And I see all the holes in my game now. Like I've already gone back out and I had like a exhibition boxing match.
Already?
Yeah, probably shouldn't have. But I got asked to come along, so I went back in and deployed a different game plan, which is like I'm just going to touch, like just land the shots, just pick the shots, keep my feet underneath me, and I had a like flawless performance in that. So and now okay, I need to bring that into the fight. That's how I need to fight. It's 4-ounce gloves. You don't have to try to knock somebody out with every punch. They're going to add up. Exactly. And then trying to get better in my grappling, I'm working on that as well. So it'll all come together.
No, absolutely. What was Coach Vince's feedback after the fight with Cody?
I think like he's gone on holidays, so I haven't really talked to him about it, but his feedback to me was like, don't dwell on the bad things. There were a lot of good things that you did too. So like, don't get in your head and worry about that. Yeah. But even after the Jamie fight, I walked out a bit like pissed off about that fight. Really? Because when I looked up at the monitor, I see myself throwing a little bit wild. Yeah. And I wanted to be like a real technical striker, because that's how I am in the gym. Yeah. Everything's technical, and when I looked up, it was getting a bit violent and wild, and that was what I tried to like tone back from my first couple of fights. And this one I just went back to how I used to fight. Everything just out the window. Like
it's just turned it into a street fight.
Yeah, street fight. That's what I went back to.
I think when you opened with that flying knee, was it in round 2?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's back. Here he is.
Well, that was my I was close with those knees. Like if one of them landed flush, I think the fight could have been over there, but it's just one of those things.
That's the way it goes, man. Well, let's take Coach Vince's advice and not dwell on the negative, but moving on to the positive. What's next for you? Because I know you mentioned that is it hard to get fights at bantamweight, or is everyone picking and choosing who they want to fight?
Picking and choosing.
All right, let's be honest here. Yeah. What's the situation there, specifically with the bantamweight division? I mean, do you have any interest to move up to featherweight, or do you want to stay at bantamweight?
I could move up to featherweight, but I'd need to put on some weight. Yeah. Like I've got the height and the reach. Yeah. I can stack on the weight, but then I can't get back to bantamweight. So it's one of those things. I'm kind of caught. I feel that I'm like perfect for bantamweight. Like I'm nearly 5'11", and the weight cut's not that bad if I'm only cutting like 2 kilos on the day. Yeah. I feel I'm built for the weight class.
I think so.
But it's just annoying if I have to go up, especially my record's 5-1, and then I take a risk of fighting a bigger opponent.
Exactly.
It's hard. But like they'll offer me fights and they'll say, what about this guy? And I'm like, yes. Like I'll tell my manager, I'm like, yes to everything. Like you don't really even need to run it by me. And then I see like their fight poster up fighting somebody else. I'm like, man.
Yeah. Is that a problem in this sport?
I think it is.
Especially at the professional level, because I was talking to Ben Vickers in the booth. I don't think it was in Perth, but it was the show before that. And he was saying it's even happening at the amateur level. Yeah. Where guys want to keep that undefeated record. Yeah. I mean, I know you had an undefeated record for the better part of 2 or 3 years, right? Yeah. But he was saying that even at the amateur record, even at the amateur level, they want to keep this undefeated record, transition to become a pro, have an undefeated record, and then for whatever reason think that'll open up the doors to get to the UFC or whatever. Yeah. What's your views on that?
No, I think like advice to any amateurs out there: lose it at amateur. Like go in and fight and lose.
Get it out of the way.
Get over it. Yeah. Like just get it out of the way. And then even when you go to pro, like all you got to get to the UFC, you got to fight. Yeah. Back to back. Don't worry about losing. Just get a good streak. And I feel like if you get some good knockouts, you'll get there. But by amateur, after that, you're at the skill level where you're ready to take on the whole world. Yeah. Well, I was still the last 2 years I've been trying to get myself to the point where I'm ready to take on the whole world. And then after that one, it was kind of a little bit of a setback. So I want to get a bit better. But then as soon as I start going on a roll, it's like back to back to back. I think that's how guys need to do it. And just fight everybody.
Yeah.
If you're picking and choosing at the regional level, what are you going to do when you get to the UFC?
Yeah.
You're fighting the best people in the world.
Exactly.
I would rather get tested before I get in the UFC so I don't get exposed.
Well, I think guys need to, and it's a fine line between balancing that old school mentality of I'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, which is what I'm gathering from you, and the other end of the spectrum is, no, don't want to fight this guy, don't want to fight that guy. I mean, again, far be it from me to tell any fighter what they should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But I think if you can find, obviously, that middle ground of, okay, I can take a fight that is going to challenge me, but it's not too tough, but it's not too easy.
Yeah.
I think that if you look at the guys over in Auckland at City Kickboxing, and even we're trying to incorporate it at the gym here with one of our guys, not necessarily picking and choosing who we want to fight, but whoever. What is happening is that they're choosing guys that are going to offer a challenge that's going to excel them forward, but should they lose, it's not going to send them down back too far.
Yeah.
It's risk versus reward at the end of the day, isn't it?
Sure, of course. You don't want to be feeding your fighters to the wolves either.
Exactly.
Find an even match, because you want both fighters to get a lot out of it. You don't want it to be a one-sided beating.
For sure.
That's what I think Eternal do a good job of. You don't really see a whole card wiped out of first round finishes. You see well, even if you do, this because they're back and forth the whole time and then someone gets finished.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you look at the last probably like 5 or 6 cards that they put out, very even matchups, especially on the main card, even in the amateurs, but specifically the main card, there's been no real mismatches at all.
No, not at all.
And I think that's why their notoriety is really starting to rise, because not only are we seeing fantastic fights, but the guys you're seeing in these matchups, you're seeing them progress.
Yeah.
You know, guys like yourself, we'll get into the card later on, especially in that lightweight division. You know, you talk about that fight between Dimps and Josh Kuhn.
Yeah.
People calling that the best fight in Australian MMA history. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at Josh, who was undefeated going into that fight, Dimps, who wasn't, and you get a fight like that, neither of those guys flinched when that fight was offered. They both went out there, they both did their thing. For guys that don't want to remain that want to remain undefeated, take a look at Josh Kuhn. I definitely think his stock's gone up from that one fight with Dimps than any of his other fights. So I'm totally on the same page.
And where is he now though? After the loss, he's out training. He's over in America.
Well, he's partying in Las Vegas with
but I'm sure he's like hanging around that crowd and he's getting the work in with those boys. And then he's going to get better from this. The loss will be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned with the loss.
Beautiful.
You hear it over and over again. You either win or you learn.
Yep.
And you're like, yeah. And then you lose and you're like, I need to learn.
Yep, exactly.
Or lose again.
Yeah. Well, don't listen to me. Listen to Jarrett, obviously. I think that's some great counsel. Not just for guys coming up in the amateur levels, but as you mentioned, obviously struggling to get fights at bantamweight. I hope that there's people listening that step up to the plate.
Yeah, step up.
Some of us say guys in the industry.
Some of us guys are running out of time, you know.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 28.
So you're 28. So you're coming
nearly 29.
Right into the prime of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the goal is to make it to the UFC?
Yeah, I want to get to the UFC. I really do. Yeah. And I want to get a good amount of fights in the UFC.
Yeah.
I want to try and get to the top. And that's my goal. And we got guys like Cody as well. Cody couldn't get any fights. No one would fight him. I was the only person that would step up and fight him. So it's like when you're in a division where people aren't taking fights, years just go tick away, and you never get your opportunity. And I think that's really sad.
Yeah.
It's now or never.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough because it's not like other sports. You know, obviously, me and Roscoe played rugby. We had the opportunity to compete every weekend, year in, year out. Guys like yourself, and especially the top tier of those divisions. I mean, if you're only fighting twice a year, like you said, at the age of 28, you want to be, at least 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Get those reps in, get that volume in, and like you said, get that experience before you get to the big leagues.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's next for you? Is there anyone in particular you want to fight with? Did you want to see if Colby wanted to take that fight, or are you guys quite happy to skip the fight and just go for beers? Or who's next for you?
Well, I'm actually heading back home on Sunday for a little while.
Okay.
I haven't been home since the start of the year, and there's a lot going on back there that I need to be back for. And I messaged Colby and said, like, do you mind if I come and train with you for a bit while I'm back?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, sure. So,
well, where's home for you?
I'm from Nowra, which is like 45 minutes south of Wollongong.
Yeah.
And Wollongong's 45 minutes south of Sydney.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
yeah,
it's not too far. I used to drive up there all the time and spar and train with those boys.
Down at Freestyle?
Yeah, freestyle.
Yeah,
so it'd be good to go back in and get the work with him. I guess there's other guys like on that Perth card that we fought on. There was other bantamweights on there. That was good to see.
Yeah.
There's some potential fights for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's plenty around. It's just people I think it's maybe a timeline as well for some fighters. It needs to align with their training regime and their weight. And
exactly. Their plan as well.
Yeah.
Well, my man, I hope you get the matchup you're desperately searching for.
Fingers crossed.
Whether it's Colby or anyone else.
Yeah.
I've got no doubt that whoever faces you next is in for a big one.
Yeah, this one's going to be more calculated, but definitely going in there with bad intentions, which I didn't really go in with bad intentions. I thought, I'm just going to cruise through this. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I just wanted to stay relaxed and calm. But now I know if I want to win the fight, I got to go in there and take the win.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I know you can. I mean, obviously, again, going back to that fight with Jamie Hunt. I mean, if that's a baseline of what you can produce, in any of your fights, there's no doubt that you've got to be a hard man to stop. And as always, I'll be cage side to see you in action. So
great having you call my fights, man.
Man, I love it. And forgive me if there's any bias towards you, but hey, that's just the way it goes. Eternal 67. I thought I'd get you in here just to give your thoughts. You train with a couple of guys on this card. Roscoe, could we bring that card up if that's all right? Yes, if you're watching Eternal 67.
It's a stacked card.
If you look at that, Jusei versus Rideout. And that's for the Australian Welterweight Championship, recently vacated by Jack Della.
Yeah, what a fight.
Speaking of doing well in the UFC, how good is he going?
Mate, he's an animal.
He's a beast, eh?
Oh, he's such a nice guy. He's a legend of a guy.
Oh, he's incredible. But he's vacated his title, and that is going down between Kevin Jusei from City Kickboxing and Caleb Rideout. Now, you obviously want to get into your own fight analysis after your fight career is done. Let's have a bit of a run through now. What do you think about our main event?
Yeah, the main event is a stacked fight. It's hard to pick too. Like Caleb's, you don't know what's coming with him.
Yeah.
Like I listened to an interview. He doesn't even know what he's going to do. He just goes in there and throws some wild stuff, and it seems to work well for him. Plenty of spinning attacks. But yeah, Kevin, he likes to stay long. He's got that city kickboxing sort of style, like that Adesanya sort of style. But then he's got that black belt judo pedigree. But I think that Rideout needs to just stick it to him without ending up in the clinch. That's going to be the hard part.
Well, you saw what Kevin did against Saeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, those judo credentials well and truly on display. Caleb spoiled the party, didn't he, last time against Ben Johnston?
Yeah.
I was quite surprised with his performance. I mean, I didn't really know who he was, but that spinning back fist putting Ben Johnston away like that.
Yeah,
I thought
especially Ben Johnston.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
No, not at all.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah.
I was in the crowd for that.
Yeah.
He
Oh, were you there?
Yeah, I was in the crowd. He silenced the crowd, that's for sure. Ben had a big following and they were all cheering him on.
I remember that. Yeah.
Caleb kind of looked at the crowd and was like, at the start, like, I'm going to take it out on your boy. And then when he did, he got up on the cage and just pointed at them all. And I was like sitting next to them. And
he just looking away.
Yeah, man, this is crazy.
No, he's fantastic. I mean, he's training with, I think, Lachlan Stitt as well. So no doubt they'll both be prepared. I'm a big fan of Kevin, just quietly.
Yeah.
But look, that's going to be a good fight. Who do you think's going to win that one?
Oh, man.
That's what we do here, man. We put him on the spot, don't we, Roscoe?
Yeah. I actually think, and I don't know if this is true, but I think Caleb was born in Nowra. where I'm born.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, well, we know who you're rooting
So
for.
I think
then.
I'll have to go for the Nara boy.
Well, when he braids his hair, you could almost say he's your long lost twin. Just
People have said
have
that.
they said that?
Yeah.
Just a few weight classes up. But no, that's your main event. Co-main, the Springbok, Justin Van Heerden, Muhammad Alavi.
Yeah.
Muhammad undefeated.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to what we were talking about
Yeah.
of people that want to pick and choose fights. Like Justin's the opposite of that.
Yep.
If anyone can't get a fight, they go to Justin and he'll take it. Like his last fight with Phil Pot, no one wanted to fight Phil Pot.
No.
Phil Pot, same thing. He couldn't get any matchups.
Yeah.
Phil Pot messaged me and he's like, "Are you stuck getting fights?"
He messaged you directly.
Yeah, he said, "Can you not get fights?" And then I messaged him back saying, "Can you make bantamweight?" And he's like,
interesting.
"No, I'm a featherweight." And I was like, "Oh, best of luck." But he's a good guy. But Justin took that fight and won, and now he's fighting Muhammad Alavi. I think he's 7-0.
I think it's 8-0.
Wow.
8-0 for Muhammad. Yeah. I actually didn't know too much about Muhammad. Then I went and searched up his record. I was like, oh yeah, it won't be too long till Eternal snatches him up.
Yeah, we share the same management team too.
Oh, do you?
August Elite, yeah.
Really?
Shout out to Reece Dalson. Yeah.
Well, no doubt who you're rooting for in this one.
Oh man, that's
That's the one I'm looking forward to.
yeah. See, Muhammad, his head kicks are like punches. They just come out of nowhere. And he can throw it from in close.
Yeah, from punching distance.
Yeah, punching distance. His leg just comes up.
Yeah.
He's like knocked some guys out with that. And then he's all round good. But I think Justin's gonna have to push that wrestling on him and try to get him against the cage and get him down. But Muhammad's a massive featherweight.
He's huge.
He's so big.
Yeah.
He's probably the scariest dude in the country.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at his profile picture there, I kind of have to look away for a second.
That's why I'm at bantamweight.
Yeah, guys like him. Well, look, I mean, it'd be good to see. It'd be good to see Justin get ahead. I know, obviously, he's training down at Freestyle with all those killers down there. He'll be prepared for this one.
If he wins this, surely title shot. Do you
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I think talking to Justin, that's the plan.
yeah,
But yeah, he's got a tough task in front of him.
yeah. He does. Don't look past Muhammad.
All right, we'll find out and see what happens. Tristan Murphy, Adam Cook. Big fan of Tristan Murphy out of CMBT.
Yeah.
Do you know much about Adam Cook?
Yeah, he's from over at City Kickboxing.
Okay, awesome.
Well, and he's really good.
Yeah, good.
He has a really unorthodox style.
Yeah.
But he throws like crazy spinning attacks, spinning back kicks, and also good on the ground. This is a hard fight for both guys. Like Tristan's got probably the most experienced fighter on the card, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a fight.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'll have to do my homework on Adam Cook then. Otherwise, I'll have Eugene questioning as to why I'm in the booth commentating these guys. So Adam Cook's from City Kickboxing?
Yeah, he gets a lot of work in with like Izzy and Brad and those boys. And even, is it Van Roon? They're like Taekwondo.
Carl Van Roon,
yeah, Carl Van Roon.
Yeah.
I think he gets some work in with him. So,
Oh, that'll be a good fight then.
yeah, it will be.
Awesome.
Yeah, you don't know what to expect in that fight.
Beautiful. Timmy Schultz, Quillen Salkilled.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Quillen.
Yeah.
He's
Who did he fight in his last fight?
that I'm unsure of.
I think he might have fought in Eternal recently. I know
Yeah.
Tim Schultz fought Dave.
I think he's 1-1, Quillen. Last time I remember looking at his record, but he's out of Haddon's gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's out of Haddon's gym.
Yeah, beautiful.
But he uses his range really well, and like he's striking so technical, also willing to take it to the ground. And that's what I like about like this era. I think like 10 years ago or even like 5 years ago, fighters in Australia weren't that well rounded.
Yeah.
And now they're just beasts in every aspect of the game. It's really coming along. Like when the younger kids get older, all of us guys our age, we're all screwed. Like,
Be shown the back door, mate.
yeah,
Well, that's a good point you bring up. I even said that about you when you were walking to the cage against Cody. I even said that, it's hard to find. I mean, it's easy to see where you're strong, but you don't really have any weaknesses because, in my opinion, you're incredibly well-rounded.
yeah,
From grappling to striking to your wrestling to your defense and your offense.
yeah,
You're seeing more of that across the board
yeah,
throughout Australian MMA.
yeah. I think you got to be brutally honest with yourself, and like I know a lot of strikers think that grappling's not that important.
Yeah.
and they really biased towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm I'm the opposite, and it's about like, that's why I came here initially, was to train with like Reece McLaren, who fights on one championship, because I looked at him, I'm like, that's the guy that I'm going to struggle with the most.
Yeah.
And then training with him was great, because then I can start to create a game that defends that sort of fighter.
Yeah.
But then in the process, you get exposed constantly.
Yeah.
So then you're like fixing problems.
Yeah.
Mini losses in the gym all the time.
It's a constant journey, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
It's never ending. It's just like a alchemical process.
Schultz and Southfield. Schultz out of Integrated MMA. No doubt he'll be prepared for that.
Yeah, good fight.
He had a tough fight with Dave in his last outing.
Yeah.
But, wouldn't want to fight him off a loss. Look at that one
they're well-rounded fighters there too.
Who else is on that main card, Roscoe?
Yeah, Vidla.
I think they're on the prelims. This will be a good fight.
Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan's so impressive.
I think he's the next big thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to the UFC for sure.
I think at that lightweight division, my top three were Jack Becker, Josh Kuhn, and this guy.
Yeah.
I definitely think he's the next big thing. I remember commentating him as an amateur, and you could just see it was only a matter of time before he started, turned pro and started making waves.
Yeah.
That guy there, Niam Stephen, though, he's not bad either.
Again, well-rounded. I think you might want to get Tom down on the ground, to be honest. But like, man,
good luck with that, though.
Yeah, he's so entertaining to watch. Like every single strike that exists, he throws it in a single fight.
Yeah,
he's so tough. He used to train at Puma too.
Oh, really?
Gym. Yeah, before I came along.
Where's he training now? Possum MMA. Is it Possum MMA?
Yeah, is he up in? Is it the Sunshine Coast?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if I got that wrong, sorry, Tom. But I think it's out at Possum MMA. He's incredibly impressive. I mean, if you look at that photo there, one thing I remember is he's kind of gone from boy to man.
Yeah.
I remember commentating him as like an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And then when he turned pro, he was just this different animal.
Yeah.
Especially in his last fight against Trevor Sinclair. I mean, Trevor's as tough as nails, as tough as they come. But yeah, he looked incredible in that fight. That'll be a good fight. Then, obviously, to open the card, Ben Johnston against Khan Sandy. Khan's been out for, a few years now?
Yeah, he hasn't fought for a while.
Do you know you know Ben Johnston quite well, don't you?
No, I don't know him personally.
Okay.
But, like, I know who he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's had a real good career in Muay Thai, kickboxing. And, like, I seen him out at the last grappling comp. I think he got gold in that. So he's,
awesome.
like, working on, again, like, he's a striker that knows where his weaknesses are.
Yes.
And he's out there really putting in that work. Yeah. I don't think it will even really be that much of a weakness. It may become one of his strong suits of his game.
Yeah.
But I think Khan, Sandy's going to want to get him down on the ground, no doubt.
Well, I think Sandy, he used to fight at lightweight. He's coming up. He's coming up a few weight classes, and it's a tall order with Ben Johnston. They are two scary men.
Because he was like Rob Wilkinson's main training partner, one of them, Sandy.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Down in Tasmania, yeah.
I think it's incredibly important to be in that environment. I mean, you look at Ben Johnston, he did some work over at City Kickboxing as well. When you got sparring partners like you do in those walls of City Kickboxing, or even for yourself training with Reece McLaren, that helps you immensely, doesn't it?
Oh, it's like that saying, iron sharpens iron, isn't it? Yeah, it is true. That's for sure. Yeah.
And then you kind of see these gyms progress, like you're seeing it with CMBT.
Yeah.
Obviously, CKB we mentioned a few times. You guys, you've had a few along the way at Puma go all the way as well. So
yeah. We got like trained with like Chelsea Hackett. She's like my main training partner now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we get a lot of work in, and Dom Aston. So yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. Well, that's your main card. Will you be there that night? Park the van at the front, come inside.
I'm going back home, so I'm not going to be there.
Oh, you won't be here for this one for next week?
No, I won't. Okay. I'm off on Sunday, which I'm kicking myself about. I like being cage side for these fights.
It's good fun.
Yeah. I love being in the crowd, especially that Josh Kuhn.
Oh, mate.
I was just glad I was there for that fight.
Unbelievable.
That was insane.
Absolutely awesome.
I like the commentary though. So if I'm at home, I'm not mad.
Oh, well, tune in on UFC Fight Pass. You might go deaf if you hear me too much, mate. But no, I'll be there. Can we look at those prelims, Roscoe? Now, you know a few people on the prelims here?
Yeah, I used to train with Hawani.
Yep.
He's at Combat now.
Yep.
But
how's he going to go against Darcy?
Yeah, that's a hell of a fight. I think Hawani's got a real point to prove. This is his first. He's gone pro, I think. So this is his first pro fight.
Yeah.
And I think both guys were flyweights. Now they're going up to bantam. And like Hawani, he lost his last fight, but he wouldn't make excuses, but I can make it for him. Like he had a hell weight cut.
In his last amateur fight?
Yeah. He fought at flyweight and he's a big bantamweight.
Yeah.
Like that just really took it out of him. But this will be different. He packs a lot of power. Like he's knocked a heap of people out, first round knockouts. He's had a really big amateur career. But this will be a tough fight and a good fight.
Awesome. Well, tune in to watch Jarrett's teammate do well on Eternal 67. And then I'm looking forward to...
Bo Berg, he's just down a bit. I've done a bit of training with him. He's really good. I think this is his first fight.
Where is he? Up or down?
I think he's down.
Go down a bit, Roscoe?
There he is, yeah. And I think that's a real evenly matched fight. Both guys, good grapplers. I'm looking forward. And that's what I like. Some of these guys down the bottom, I'm not real sure of who they are. And I like that because when I watch people that haven't fought, like even if it's their first fight, I'm always looking at, are they going to do some technique that I can learn from? Yeah. So I really do keep my eye out for these guys that haven't fought before.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Is this an amateur bout, this one?
Yeah, this is an amateur bout.
Yeah, sweet.
But there's a few good fights on there, like Vidler.
Yes.
That Vidler guy.
Yes, I've heard of Luke Vidler.
Up a bit? Yeah, Vidler. He finished Alistair Volders in that last fight, hit him with that lead hook.
Yes.
And then, knocked him out. And then Cody Wattago, he's coming off a knockout as well. He threw that uppercut in the clinch.
Yeah.
I was in the crowd for that too. So two guys coming off knockouts that like to push the pace.
Yeah.
That's just, I think Vidler's got good footwork and he needs to create the angles and move around the outside. But Wattago's just going to come forward and get a hold of him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Cody. Yeah, there's a reason they call him the Savage. I'm a big fan of Cody Wattago. There might be a bit of bias there, but don't tell anyone.
And even you got that Naveed. He's had a heap of fights.
Yeah, that's that flyweight. Yeah, that flyweight division's starting to pick up too.
Christian Latham.
Yeah, love
Stoddart,
Christian Latham.
That's a hell fight. They both got similar styles. And I think Stoddart, he lost to the Urban Fight Night champion in like a split decision.
Oh, down in Sydney?
Yeah, down in Sydney. So, but like, I think Christian's like a little prodigy coming out of combat.
I think so too. And I remember his last fight against Jaden. He looked great.
Jaden's good.
He's a good fighter.
You're
good mates with Jaden.
Yeah, I like Jaden. He's a legend of a guy, but his wrestling is really good. Jaden's.
So for him to do that against Jaden, massive statement. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan.
I think Jaden was doing well that whole fight. He probably would have won that if it didn't end the way that it did.
Yeah, no, that'll be a good one. There's plenty on there. I think, Jay Martin, Patrick Thompson.
Small.
Yeah.
And, that's actually a fight I'm looking forward to, Small versus Chin.
Yeah.
Small's so dangerous from the clinch.
Yeah.
I think he knocked out his last opponent with a knee from the clinch. And this Mason Chin, his kicks are like something I've never seen before.
Mason Chin?
Yeah, he throws like wild karate kicks, really good kicks. He's good. Like hook kicks, he throw like a hook kick where you kick past and come back at their head.
Yeah, totally.
It's crazy stuff. So I think Small's just got to initiate that clinch and that's where he can win that fight.
Yeah, wicked. Oh, well, the pool boy, they call him.
Yeah.
Certainly looks like a pool boy. Put it that way. Good looking bloke. Good looking man on this card. You got the women as well. Macca Jean, Danielle Curtis, and I think closing the prelims, Jamie Edenden, Angelica Momcilovic.
Yeah, she knocked out Curtis, who's lower on the card.
Yeah.
But Jamie Edenden, she's an Australian boxing champion.
She's awesome.
Yeah. So that's a good fight. That's a boxer versus kickboxer, that one.
Yeah. She fought one of my teammates, Connie Chan, a while ago. I think that might have been the Queensland title.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. So yeah, I was introduced to her a couple of years back. But no, she's doing quite well.
She lost her last fight, didn't she? But yeah, she lost her last fight. That was at the.
Did she?
Yeah, at the last.
I thought she won that one.
Did she?
I think so.
You might be right.
I think she won that one. It was against the one of the judo female fighters.
Yeah, that's right.
From Dan Kelly's gym down at Resilience.
Yes, okay,
I think she won that one.
Awesome.
Yeah. Split decision.
Okay.
I think they even might have got fight of the night or been in the mix for fight of the night.
It was a good fight. Yeah.
No,
I remember
awesome.
being there for it. Yeah.
No, well, Eternal's killing it at the moment. It's only going to go up from here. But if you're on the Gold Coast, or if you're not, if you're a Nowra. If you're now with Jarrett, tune into UFC Fight Pass. It all goes down, 10 days, 5 hours, 10 minutes from now, July 16th.
Yeah.
And the reason I know that is because I'm off to New Zealand with the family the very next morning at 3 o'clock. So I won't be sleeping that night.
Rough.
No, Juice versus Rideout, Eternal 67. My man, I cannot wait to see you back on here sometime soon. I know you're taking a break, but before we close, how long do you want to take off, or how soon can we see you back?
I'm thinking maybe like the November card.
Yep.
I think there's a November card.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the work in. If I go straight back into camp, I'm not going to learn.
Exactly.
I need to learn and then go into camp.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a perfect timeline for me.
Yeah.
This will be my last little, I look at it like a download phase, I'm upgrading my system. And then after that, it'll just be back-to-back fights all next year and just making a run.
Awesome.
Whatever happens, happens.
I like what you bring up there, because when you're in camp, it's fully zoned in on the game plan and the opponent at hand, isn't it? You don't really give yourself that opportunity to obviously learn new skills. You're almost sharpening what you have in preparation for the fight.
Yeah.
Whereas the approach that you're taking now, instead of fighting back to back to back now, give yourself a few months, learn some new skills, sharpen a few skills, and then zone in. Yeah. Is that's the plan?
Yeah, it's almost like you have to completely strip away what you have and then you have to rebuild it. And that you can't do that in the middle of camp. So I need to analyze every part of my game, look at all the things that went wrong in the fight, and then I have to start putting in measures. It's a lot of learning. It's not just learning a technique here. So say if a guy exposes his leg, I'm just practicing that one kick in camp over and over again. This is trying to upgrade the entire system. You don't want to be doing that when you're cutting weight.
Exactly.
And all the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I love the approach you're taking, and I think it's a professional approach. And I, along with a lot of other people, can't wait to see you back in action very soon.
Thank you, man. I can't wait to be back.
Awesome. Well, my man, thank you so much for coming on. All the best with the podcast.
Cheers.
I'll be tuning in.
Good, man.
And taking notes as well, obviously. But thank you so much for coming on the show. No doubt this is hopefully one of many episodes we can do in the future.
For sure. That'd be great to be back. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Bless.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode of the Tea Time Show is proudly brought to you by More Time Financial.